Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Garcia from B Europe, and I'm here together with my colleague, Joey.
Hi, good day, everyone. My name is Joey. I'm the business development lead of B Europe and delighted to be here with Sarah to tell you a little bit more about the work of the B Corp movement.
Great. Thank you so much, Joey. So today, Joey and I are delighted to be presenting more about B Lab and the B Impact Assessment more specifically, and how it's a tool that empowers the private sector to measure and improve their environmental impact. Just a bit of background on myself. I lead B Europe's engagement with large companies and multinational, and as such, of course, our work on climate and environment is super critical to this piece of work. Can we go to the next slide, Joey? So just to set a little bit the scene of why we're here and where we're coming from, as many of you will know, unfortunately, our current economic system as we know it, of course, in which business is one of its key actors, is leading to significant negative impact. Next one, Joey. We're in a difficult time and facing unprecedented challenges. Carbon in our atmosphere has surpassed the 350 parts per million. Wealth is overly concentrated in the hands of a few. Human rights violations are widespread, and we're facing an unprecedented biodiversity crisis. We know that more than 80% of young people no longer identify with the economic system that has helped us create this growth, and at the same time has caused unimaginable harm to the planet and communities. Next. So people are saying enough and really demanding more from the business community. And this is where we step in. Go next. And that's really where B Lab's reason to exist begins. We're a systemic change organization with a vision of an inclusive, equitable, and regenerative economic system for all people and the planet. We are helping tens of thousands of businesses, investors, and institutions manage their impact using the B Impact Assessment, which we'll dig into together in a few minutes, and through our various programs and partnerships. Our international network creates standards, policies, tools, and programs for business to really shift its behavior, the culture, and structure of our current economic system. We certify companies, known as B Corps, who are leading the way in addressing society's most critical challenges. And an important element that we'd like to highlight as well is that B Corps not only commit to measuring and continuously improving their impact on the environment and people, but also are required to amend their company's legal statutes to make its leadership accountable to all stakeholders and not just shareholders. And this is what we call at B Lab the stakeholder economy, or stakeholder governance. Yeah. And so where are we today? We are now a very proud community of over 5,000 B Corps in over 78 countries across more than 150 industries, all with the unifying goal of catalyzing business as a force for good. Our data shows that in 2020, and we're hoping to get our latest numbers out soon, we protected over 200,000 hectares of land, offset 16 million tons of carbon, saved 225 million liters of water, and diverted 207,000 metric tons of waste. And this just shows like the power and that the collective power that B Corps can have on our planet. Next, Joey. And so beyond certification, we also strive to bring our B Corp community together to catalyze collective climate action. One inspiring example is the B Corp Climate Collective, which is a group of around 1,200 B Corps from around the world who have committed to net zero by 2030. This was kicked off during COP25 in Paris in 2015. And since then, we've seen this community of really committed to climate action come together and now making up over these 1,200 businesses. And so how are our tools helping the private sector manage and improve their environmental impact? I'll hand over that part of the presentation to Joey, who's going to talk about our B Impact Assessment.
And that's where I come in. And so as you might know, the B Impact Assessment is B Lab's tool for impact measurement and management. It's our go-to platform for anyone that is keen on exploring more about their positive social and environmental performance. And what makes this such an amazing tool is that this B impact assessment is freely available for everyone, right? So any organization can get started with their own journey of measuring and managing a company's social and environmental impact. If you access this B impact assessment, the tool guides you through a wide range of topics, ranging from the governance of a company, its workforce, the communities that it's part of, the customers that it serves, and of course also the environmental impact of the business. We try to accommodate different types of businesses, and hence there's quite a bit of tailoring available to make sure that you zoom in on those topics that are most relevant to you and take the actions that are meaningful for your company's positive impact. So in this B impact assessment, we recognize two different types of impact. So on the one hand, we recognize what we call operational impact. And what we mean by this is that by the day-to-day activities of companies, the way that the business is ran can happen in all kinds of different ways. And of course, we would stimulate a company to be as environmentally conscious as possible. And so you see that these kind of questions, they cover the facilities, the purchases, the employees, and the governance of the business. But then there's also something that we call impact business models. And this kind of comes from the recognition that some companies are inherently just structured to have a positive impact through its business model, through the design of its organization, or through collective actions across the value chain. And in this slide, you can just see an overview of everything that the B impact assessment covers, particularly on that operational impact side of things. So governance, workers, community, environment, and customers, a lot of those key impacts are covered in those middle three topics. So around the workforce, the communities that an organization is part of, or an environmental impact. And of course, you're particularly interested in that environmental impact. So let's take a look at what exactly is covered there. So in the environmental impact, we divide in four smaller topics. One that we call environmental management, that is very much focused on the company's internal operations and how it manages its workforce, how it manages its purchases, its practices to be environmentally conscious. And then there's three topics that cover those different resources that a company manages: air and climate, water, land, and life. Air and climate, of course, very much focused on greenhouse gases, but also covers energy usage and hopefully also the renewable energy usage, of course. Well, water does exactly that. It looks at the water footprint of a business, and land and life looks at a wide range of topics linked to biodiversity, linked to waste generation, and linked to the materials that a company uses in producing its goods. So if we zoom a little bit more into those impact business models, it's good to understand what exactly is an impact business model, right? How do we define when a company is structured to inherently positively affect one of its stakeholders or positively affect the environment? So if a company has what we call an impact business model, we recognize that this is unique to the company, right? It captures the reason why a company exists. It creates a significant positive effect for one of its stakeholders. In our case, we'll zoom in on the environment, the stakeholder that doesn't have a voice, but that's of course so important to all of us living on the planet. And this impact business model assesses the core product or service of the company or the design of the company. It's very important that it's not just something that the company intends to do, but it can be measured and it can be managed. And hence, our methodology very much focuses on that aspect as well. And once again, an overview of what is covered in the B impact assessment, the content, and you see that, for example, on the environmental side, there's quite a few different impact business models that we recognize to which a company can have a positive effect on that stakeholder. So in the 5 topics that are covered, maybe I'll zoom in on those a little bit more initially. We identify companies that have products or services focused on renewable or cleaning burning energies, whose products or services reduce toxin usage or remediate environmental degradation caused by toxins. Those companies that provide goods or services focused on environmental information and education, very much on the awareness side of things. Those whose products or services conserve resources, whether that's greenhouse gases, whether that's material usage. Land wildlife conservation, those goods and services that protect the land that we live on or protect biodiversity. And lastly, environmentally innovative process. This one is a little bit different. It looks more at the company's operations, but some organizations, of course, more look inward for their design, their value chain, and reducing the environmental impact throughout their value chain. And so we try to cover that in this model. So for any of these models, right, we want to make sure that a company's impact is specific, it's material, it's verifiable, it's long-lasting, and it's extraordinary, right? That's when we can really differentiate those companies that really make a difference. So let's take a look at an example, the resource conservation impact business model. And what you will find in this impact business model is that it recognizes those products and services that reduce resource use or limit waste to landfill. And of course, a company can do that in all kinds of different ways, right? So what we try to do with this methodology is identify the intensity of the impact, right? What is the level of impact that is being achieved, and how far does a company go to take ownership? And such an impact business model could typically be found by companies that focus on the circular economy, where material lifespan is extended. So with that, I think that was everything that we wanted to cover about the impact assessment. And of course, a warm invitation for anyone listening to this recording and to also get started yourself with the tool. It's very simple. It's beimpactassessment.net. You can create your account free of charge, and the tool will guide you. We at B Lab are at your disposal to help you in this journey. And so, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to share, and I'll give the word back to Sarah for the finalizing words. I think you're on mute.
Thanks, Joey. Once again, thanking the organizers of World Rainforest Day for having us, and for our listeners for tuning in. Like Joey said, we're at your disposal for any questions regarding our tools or how B Lab works together with companies on tackling some of the world's most challenging problems today. So thank you very much, and wish you a fantastic rest of your World Rainforest Day. Bye-bye.